I decided I wanted to make a rip fence for my bandsaw. In order to do this, I decided I would make a surface for that rip fence, as you can see here. Stick around, I'll show you how I did it. This is totally an experiment to see if I can make this rip fence for my bandsaw. I started out with 3/4 inch plywood, roughly 19 inches by 19 inches. But later on, you'll see that I'll cut this down. Next, I had to locate the miter slot because that's what's going to align my new tabletop to the existing top. This isn't going to be a close tolerance type of situation since I'll just be clamping the fence to the tabletop. And I may have to adjust the angles a few degrees in order to satisfy the drift. So I'm actually using the squareness of this new top as a reference for placement for my miter slot. And then when I put the other miter slot and it's perpendicular to the existing one, then I'll do the same thing. It'll be referenced off of the outer edge of the new table. As you can see here, I've already started to fabricate the track that will fit into the miter slot. Now I'm setting the height on that, and I want that just below the surface of the table. I've cut that out on the table saw, and you can see that it's just below probably a 16th, maybe a 32nd of an inch. You can see that I've already glued the track to the underside of the table off camera. And now I'm locating where I want the screws to go. I'll punch a dimple with the awl so that we have a good starting spot. Next, I'll use the countersink bit and I want this to go deep enough so that the head of the screw does not stick out above the surface of the track. I put 5 screws in this track, but I probably could have gone with 4. 4 would have been enough, I believe. Now we'll drill the holes so we don't split any wood when putting the screws in. All we need is just a little bit to get it started. We go past the oak track and into the plywood. And now we'll install the screws. And this should do it. It should actually be more than enough. Now I'll cut off the remaining parts of the track. And the track installation part is done. We'll see how it fits on the tabletop. Now we'll cut the kerf for the blade of the bandsaw. I don't want to go all the way through. I just need to go just short of halfway, so that the top will be centered on the existing top. Now I'm going to lay out the lines for the next miter slot. Now this one, like I said, is perpendicular to the other. I'll use the T-square once again to get this information. And it's roughly a 3/4 of an inch wide. If you made it this far into the video, you're much appreciated. And thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel so you'll get all the content that the woodshop stock has to offer. I'm sure you'll find some informative videos. The depth of that was about 3/8. Now I'm using my router table to mill this out. I probably would have had better luck if I'd used a dado blade on the table saw, but I chose this method, and it works good enough for what we're doing here. I probably should have made several passes as well. That was a little bit to hog out for that router bit. Now here's the fence. I made this off camera using a cheap miter gauge that I picked up at a yard sale, and all I did was use epoxy to install it to the face. Everything seems to fit fine, and it appears like it will function okay. But we'll put it through a test to see. I decided to make this fence so I could resaw boards and possibly mill some lumber, small pieces that is. There are a number of other uses as well. Here I'm going to resaw a piece of pine, basically a 2x4 with the corners rounded. You can see that I have the fence clamped to the table as well as the existing table. I think I'll do some modifications to the fence, make it a bit wider. This seemed to go okay. Like I said, this was an experiment and it was somewhat successful, but it gives you an idea of how to go about making a fence for a bandsaw. Thanks for watching.